Hello, my name is Tommy Crane with the City of Radcliff Fire Department. We're here with another edition of 411, and this one we're going to talk about summer fire safety, summer safety in general, and we're going to start off talking about pool safety. Everybody, likes to go to the pool, likes to have a good time, whether it's a home pool or whether it's a public pool. So we just wanted to start, and today we wanted to start off by talking to Alex. She's the lead lifeguard here at Colvin Community Center, the pool. And so, Alex, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Alex, so just as being a lifeguard, what are some things that when people are going to come into the pool and enjoy the city pool, what are some things that they need to think about and need to remember? What are some things that you, as a lifeguard, are going to remind them of?
Running for sure. We always have a big problem, especially with like little kids, because we have a lot of little kids come and their favorite thing to do is run. They love to think that the pool is like not going to be here the next day, so it's their favorite thing. So it's one thing that we definitely have to remind a lot of people of is stop running. We really try to like watch a lot of the younger kids just because they try to think that they can swim in the deep end or like depths that they can't swim in. So we definitely keep an eye on them, and we definitely tell parents to just kind of watch out for them. If they aren't strong swimmers, life vests, life vests, life vests. It's like amazing for us. So reminding parents that they need to help you watch out for the kids. That you all are here to oversee the pool, but it's the parents' responsibility that you're not their babysitter. Yes. A lot of parents do think that like we're kind of more babysitters than we are lifeguards. Right. So it's definitely a big problem. We like to have the parents in the pool if possible, and if they don't want to get in the pool, which is fine, just a life vest, and just make sure that you're like watching them the whole time. So that's definitely key.
Now on the life vest, I know from what I've researched is to make sure that the life vest fits well. It doesn't pull it. The life jacket doesn't pull up over their head and things like that. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I know that I've read is important to make sure it fits well for the child. The other thing talking about life vests is I've noticed a lot of people will rely on like inflatable devices, but we want to remember that those are not.
Yes, those aren't always foolproof.
Right.
The little arm floaties. Right. I would never really use those as like a form of safety if you can't swim that well.
Right.
So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. What about so thinking about that? What about one of the things is we always see the Hollywood version of somebody when they're drowning, they're waving their hands or, and they go down 1, 2, 3 times. So as a lifeguard, what are things that you're looking for to see if someone's in distress?
Well, I definitely think people really react to situations in a lot of different ways. I've seen all forms of drowning. I've seen kids actually scream out, I need help, I need help. We get in and go and get them. I've seen silent drowners where it looks like they can sort of swim, but they're really struggling and they're kind of bobbing up and down, and those are kind of like the silent drowners, if that makes sense. Yes, but I've seen all kinds. It's really not what Hollywood plans it out to be. We've seen a few where it's very Hollywood, splashing of the arms and everything, constantly going down. But yeah, that's pretty much all we've seen so far. We haven't really ever had anything too crazy if it's ever come to a drowning, because we're very more prevent it before it happens kind of thing. Right. Yes.
Okay. So what are so any other things that you can think of to just remind people, with swimming safety for the summer?
Just follow the rules. We have rules in place for a reason. It's not just because we want to take away your fun. We want everyone to come to the pool and have fun, but we just want everybody to be safe. So if we tell you you can't do this or this or this, it's not because we want to take that away from you. We just want you to be safe in the water. Like life vests for sure. We have a lot of kids who don't ever want to put life vests on for us, but you have to if you want to just have a little fun.
Right.
A lot of people like to play like games in the pool, like chickens, like one thing everybody loves to play. We try to avoid that because we have had people kind of like fall over and like hit their heads on the side of the pool being too close. But yeah, just come in and have fun and follow the rules, and we'll all have a good time.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Alex.
Thank you.
Just some other things for people that have your own pool, a private pool, individual. If you can, make sure it's in a fenced-in area to help keep younger ones out. If it's a temporary pool and you have a removable ladder, remove the ladder so that you can make sure that you're safe there. Small kids pool, kiddie pools, empty the water when they're not in use, so that there's not that risk of drowning for unattended. And just make sure that, if it's an older child, we always recommend making sure that they're swimming with a buddy. So if something does happen, that they're okay. For parents, older siblings, we recommend, learning CPR. That's something that you guys have to learn right off the bat. So learning CPR, like Alex talked about, recognize those signs of drowning, that they're not the Hollywood splashing arms all the time. A lot of times they're, the child or the person is struggling just to stay afloat, and wear sunscreen.
Yes, I actually just got the worst sunburn the other day, so please wear sunscreen.
Yeah, definitely wear sunscreen, especially around the water because the reflection of the water. So those are just some things we want to remind everybody. Thank you, Alex, for your time.
Thank you.
And we hope that everybody, whether it's swimming at home or on the lake or in a public pool, just remember to be safe and like Alex said, follow the rules and have fun. All right, so continuing with our safety talks about just summer safety. We just want to keep rolling with some things, especially for kids, for safety. We want to talk about bicycle safety. So that's a pretty big thing to make sure that the kids are, a lot of times, they like to ride their bikes and to go to a friend's house, things like that. So I just want to remind them, always wear a helmet. That's the number one thing. Make sure you're always wearing a helmet. Make sure that the child's helmet fits well, your helmet too, if you're wearing a helmet. Hopefully you are. Make sure that your helmet fits well. General rule of thumb is 2 fingers from the edge of the helmet to the eyebrows to make sure that it fits good. Another technique is also once you snap the chin strap, then when you open your mouth, open it all the way wide, and when you do, it should kind of make the helmet kind of hug your head, and that way you know that it's tight enough. If not, they recommend tightening the straps a little bit more. So a good fitting bike helmet is the number one thing that you want to make sure of, no matter whether you're an adult or a child. Ride with traffic. If you're a younger person, if you can ride on the sidewalk and try to stay out of traffic, that's even better. But sometimes there are areas where you might ride where there's not a sidewalk, or if it's a busy city area, sidewalks might be occupied by pedestrians. So make sure that when you're riding, you ride with the traffic, and you make sure that you are riding as far right as you possibly can safely to stay out of the way of vehicle traffic as well. Resist the temptation to wear earbuds, headphones, anything that might distract you from being able to hear or make you lose your concentration while you're riding your bike. Because you are riding, you need to be alert and make sure that you're watching for traffic and other things that might become an issue to cause you to wreck. Wear bright clothing or something reflective while you're riding your bike. One of the worst things you can do is wear darker clothing or like dark navy or black clothing, especially in low light conditions. If it's getting towards the evening, you want to wear something that draws people's attention to you, so that they can see you and not run over you, obviously. When you're riding, try to ride with others. Ride with others if you can. If you're riding by yourself, especially if you're riding on a longer, if you're someone who likes to take bike rides for several miles, make sure that someone knows your route, so that if you don't show up somewhere for a little while, they know that to come and check on you. So make sure somebody knows your route and where you might be riding as well. Some other things to think about with summer safety is children in hot cars. This is something that in the past few years has become a major concern, that we've lost children in cars and they've been left unattended. Cracking a window does not do the job. So that children and even pets. So make sure that if you're going into the store, take the child with you. A lot of stores now are kind of pet friendly. So if you've got a pet, you can take the pet with you. But don't trust that window being lowered a little bit to help with the ventilation in the car. Just some things to remember. On a sunny 60-degree day, it can actually be 110 degrees in a car. We live here in Kentucky where it gets hot and humid, and the day can start out pretty mild, and then by early afternoon it can already be a very muggy, hot day. An 80-degree day when it's muggy is going to feel a lot warmer. So those are some things to remember. The temperatures can rise in a car 20 degrees in about 10 minutes. So remember, if you're a child in a car, if you've got a child in a car, it's 80 degrees outside. In just a few minutes, you can have about 100 degrees inside that car. If you're someone who you're taking your child to daycare and you normally don't, maybe you're the husband and your wife has asked you to take the child to daycare this morning, and it's out of your normal routine, think about some things that can remind you that child is back there. Or even if you're a busy parent and you have a lot of running around to do for the day, just think about that. You can, one thing is to maybe set an alarm, or have someone call or text you when you get to your location. Another idea is to put a stuffed animal in the car seat, and when the child is in the car seat, put that stuffed animal up front with you so that you realize that there's something that's not normally in the front seat. Put something in the back seat. So if you're going to work, put your lunchbox or your briefcase or whatever you may be carrying with you. Put that in the back seat so you actually have to physically open that door. When you get out, just always turn around and check. Just turn around and do a quick check as you're locking the car door, and just make sure that you don't notice that the child is back there. Some other things to think about is keeping children out of cars that are unattended. When you've got the car parked in the driveway, lock the car. Not just good security practice to keep somebody from breaking in, but lock the car to keep the child from getting in there accidentally and then accidentally locking themselves in, or not being able to open the door because they don't know how to open the door handle from the inside. Some other things is keep the keys away from children. Most of your newer cars, there's a sequence that you have to do with pushing the brake and things like that to activate the car, turn it on, and get it to move. But just keep the keys where the children can't get to them, and that way there's less likely for them inadvertently to grab those keys and get in there. If you are someone who is a passerby and you see a child unattended in a car, and it's it's hot weather, the first thing to do is check the vehicle. Check and make sure there's no one else in the vehicle with that child, especially if it's a vehicle that has tinted windows. Another thing to is try to communicate with the child, and see the child's response and whether the child is still alert and things like that. Call 911. Go ahead and call 911. Get that call made to get emergency responders there, law enforcement, and see see what's going on. And if the child does look like the child is in distress and the child is in need of getting some fresh air and things like that, get the child out of the car. There are Good Samaritan laws that if you have done everything, you've checked to make sure that the child is unattended, you've called 911, get that child out of that car as quickly as possible. Their bodies are going to compensate for that heat for a little while, and then finally their bodies are going to crash and send them into distress, and we don't want that. So we want to make sure to get them out of there quickly and safely. Some other things to think about is summer. We all like to grill out. Memorial Day has just passed, and we like to have our cookouts in the summer. Some people would like to grill out all year long. But some things to remember about grilling is number one, where you can and where you can't grill, but also just the general condition of your grill. Whether it's a charcoal grill or a gas grill, make sure that your grill is sturdy. If it's one that you've left sit outside through the years and you haven't really taken care to make sure it's covered up, protected from the weather, make sure that it's solid, that it can't be, there's not a lot of rust on it, it's not wobbly. You don't want it to fall over and hurt somebody and possibly start a fire that way either. So make sure it's in good structural integrity. That's a good solid grill. Make sure that if it's a gas grill, make sure that you check for leaks prior to turning the grill on. Make sure that the propane tank is in good shape. That all the connections are good. The hose is not leaking. Make sure when you when you turn it on, that it lights properly. If you have to use a grill lighter, do so safely from the side. Don't try to light it over the top. If it is a charcoal, make sure that you only use lighter fluid to light the charcoals. Don't use any other flammable liquids to try to start the fire. Keep a 3-foot safety zone around your grill. Just like we talk about in the kitchen, around your stove and your oven when you're cooking, make sure you keep a 3-foot safety zone around your grill, all around it, for pets, kids. And this goes for not just while you're cooking, but also when you're done, because you're gonna have that grill is gonna be hot for quite a while after you're done cooking. So make sure that you keep that where it's gonna have time to cool and nobody can run into it or knock it over and get severely burned. Keep it away from structures. Keep it away from. Don't grill in your garage if it's raining. Don't grill under a canopy. The little 10 by 10 pop-up canopies. Don't grill under those. They're just made of fabric that can burn. Make sure you keep it away from any other overhangs. Preferably, we tell people at least 10 feet away from their house or any other structures that could start a fire, especially if you have vinyl siding. Vinyl siding will melt from the heat from a grill. Another thing to remember is that you cannot have grills on decks or balconies of apartment buildings. So definitely, if you live in an apartment building, before you go buy the latest Blackstone grill, make sure that you check, because you cannot have it on a grill on a deck or a balcony. So that because you have to remember, if there's a fire, it's not just your safety, your family. You're looking at the family of maybe 3 to 4 other families easily, in some cases more than that. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. Clean your grill regularly. Clean that built-up grease from the hamburgers and the steaks and all that. Just make sure you clean your grill regularly. Clean the inside of the hood. A lot of grease will build up as it's when you have the hood closed. And you reduce the risk of a flash fire, which can and does happen. Make sure you keep a fire extinguisher handy, just in case. So those are some things to remember while you're grilling as well. So talking about grilling safety, another thing that people do a lot of times, go along with grilling is campfires. A lot of times if you go out camping to a camping site, or just camping out back with the grandkids, with the kids, or even you just want to have a burn pit in the back. You want to cook some hot dogs, roast some marshmallows, just have a nice evening out back. Some things to remember on campfires is check your local ordinances. If you're going to a campsite or to a park, make sure you follow the rules of the campsite, the park. Watch your weather conditions. If it gets too dry sometimes in the summer, there are warnings about you can't have campfires and open burning. So remember that, check those things throughout the summer to make sure we've had enough rain that you can safely have a controlled burn. Make sure, like I said, check with your local laws and ordinances. Throughout the state, you can have what we call recreational burning. So you can have campfires and burn pits. What we tell people is keep them at least 15 feet away from any of your buildings on your property, any like low lying branches, anything like that. So make sure you keep it away from other things that could burn. The other thing is make sure that you're using only clean lumber, clean wood, from trees, things like that. Don't use building materials. Don't use 2x4s that you've got left over from building a shed or something. So don't use things like that. Use only wood that you've cut from a tree, from branches. Don't burn brush, things like that that'll smolder and just cause an obnoxious odor. Be respectful of your neighbors as well. Like I said, if you're doing a fire pit, anything like that, keep at least 15 feet away. We recommend having a screen to cover the fire to keep sparks and things like that from going, the embers from going anywhere. Keep water or a shovel handy for dirt to put on the fire as well. So just when you're burning, like I said, just make sure that you're careful. Recreational fires are allowed. You just want to make sure that you follow the rules. If your city, some cities I know throughout the state have specific size of how big your burn pit or your fire pit can be. So just remember that as well. So with the season, with summer, Of course, July the 4th, we love to have fireworks. It's very patriotic. We like to do fireworks. So some things to remember is, number one, check with your local ordinances. When the fireworks were made legal in Kentucky, a lot of cities and even some counties enacted ordinances, saying that you could only use fireworks at certain times of the year, like the weekend prior to 4th of July and the weekend after. So just remember that you're checking your local ordinances so that you don't get in trouble there. Another thing to consider before you go buy fireworks, especially if you live in an urban area, is that the state law is you have to be at least 200 feet away from a building. So that includes your neighbor's houses, your house, cars, and also large groups of people. So make sure that you remember that you have to be at least 200 feet away. So if you're living on a street in one of the neighborhoods in E-Town or Radcliff or even Vine Grove, there's a good chance you probably cannot, because of the distance of your neighbor's houses, you probably cannot shoot fireworks off. So remember that, to check your local ordinances, and also to remember that the state law says 200 feet, and that includes from anything like wooded areas and things like that also. So like I said, just follow some general safety. We always recommend that, we prefer that you go watch your professional displays that are put on by, a lot of times organizations or churches will host a professional fireworks display. So make sure, that's the preferable method. A lot of times those are also tied in with events or activities throughout the day. So make a family day of it at those events. Watch the weather conditions. If it's real windy or it's real dry, then do not use your fireworks, because you don't want the Roman candle that you shoot off to blow over into your neighbor's field and start a field fire, something like that. Have water or an extinguisher handy in case something does go awry. So you want to make sure you've got that. Only grown-ups should be lighting the firework fuses. So only grown-ups should be using the lighters and the matches to light the firework fuses. And keep kids away and let them observe. But don't let them be the ones that are lighting the match or lighting the fuse. And another thing to think about is, I remember growing up, we used to play with sparklers, and we thought it was pretty cool. But as I've gotten older and gotten more into safety and things like that, one of the things that was brought to my attention at the end of a sparkler is about 1,200 degrees. So just to give you a perspective on how hot that is that glass will actually start to melt at 900 degrees. So a sparkler is 1,200 degrees and glass starts to melt at 900 degrees. So just kind of put that into perspective when you're thinking about letting your child run around the yard with a sparkler. So those are some things to think about fireworks safety as well. Like I said, we recommend you go to a professional display and enjoy those, and just enjoy watching them with your family there. All right, so this part we're going to talk to Alex, one of our paramedics with Hardin County EMS, and we just wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about with it being hot weather, what people need to kind of watch for when they're out there working and out in the yard or just doing physical activity outside. So I guess the first thing is like we've got heat exhaustion, we've got heat stroke. How can they kind of know what to look for, and then kind of what they can do to if they feel like they're getting to that point?
So it is getting warmer. We're going to be spending more time outdoors. The main thing really is stay hydrated. You want to make sure you drink plenty of water, sports drinks, those sorts of things as well. If you notice someone starting to get headaches, excessive headaches, confusion, just starting to be real weak and tired, abnormally tired is a really good sign of heat exhaustion. We want to make sure that we get those people inside and keep them cool. To prevent it beforehand, you want to wear loose clothing, light color clothing. You don't want to be bound up. So that's going to help keep us from getting to that point. If it becomes past the point of just feeling tired and maybe some confusion and headaches and things, you might be moving towards a heat stroke. It's a real good time to be calling us to come out then. Make sure we get those people inside, keep them cool. Maybe ice packs to the groin and the armpits and those sorts of things. That's going to going to be the first treatment we're going to do as well. So you guys can start that before we get there.
Okay. And like I think we were talking about before too, like the skin, the way it feels, and the sweating. So what are
with your heat exhaustion, you're going to have sweating, and that's your body's way of cooling you down. Whenever that stops, there's obviously you're moving towards heat stroke, and that's where the injuries can come from. The heat stroke itself is not inherently dangerous. It itself, the problem is the damage afterwards. That's usually where the problem comes with the heat stroke, is after it happens.
Real quick, just kind of this. I know this is kind of throwing maybe a curveball at you. What are some other just maybe some other injuries, summertime injuries? One thing I was just thinking about is with us being out more with summer. I know we also have a lot of insects that are out.
Absolutely. If you're allergic to those insects, the bees are coming around, wasps, those sorts of things. If you're allergic to those, make sure you let someone know. Keep an EpiPen next to you if you're prescribed that. Be sure to call us early if there's a problem. It's easier to fix early. As far as other injuries, being out in the sun, sunburn itself, it is a type of burn. Make sure you stay covered as much as you can and wear your sunscreen.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate
Absolutely, no problem.
And that concludes our edition of 411. We want to thank you for listening, and we want to thank HCEC-TV for filming it, and we want to thank our fellow EMS and also for Colvin Community Center for letting us film there as well.